Okay, we're on the south side of the structure. This is the power coming in from above grade. The weather mass should have been elevated above the roof covering over there. This is our bank of meters. It's a little confusing right in here, but we're in unit 110, and I guess this is building 2. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but process of elimination, I have just decided that would be your meter most likely. No promises, no guarantees. You're supposed to have 30 inches of service access in front of the meter, in front of the main disconnect, and you don't. And that, by the way, the main disconnect should have been labeled as being a main disconnect. Okay, and a main disconnect is not the same thing as a main principal, but all the same. All these boxes, so there's some uniformity here. That's the whole community, or little federal Pacific boxes. A lot of home inspectors are going to speak to that. I'll speak to it too. But an apartment can only be made as safe as your neighbors. And these boxes happen to be on an exterior wall. This is the south exterior wall. Okay, so these are on an exterior wall. They're on a brick, wall. So if it melts down, hopefully there's not going to be too much more. The problem would be isolated, if you even had a problem. Since 1960, what? Since the 60s this has been here. Doesn't mean it got better. Okay, but the main, okay, and nobody's going to raise the weather mast. I get it, and I hope so, but it's not going to happen. And I always like when it does happen, but it's not. But we do have insufficient service access because of the landscaping. And we're just going to roll on around here. And with any amount of luck, this stayed open. I won't have to dig out the combination. Yes! And we come on in. And this is your swimming pool. So the living room window faces east, which also faces the pool room. So you've got some privacy from the pool, and you're close to the pool, but you don't have a view of the pool. This front door is kind of messed up. That's not what we're here for. Okay, this floor is kind of boogered up. That's not what we're here for. Okay, so we're coming on in here. Doorbell works. Doorbell works. It's electrical. So we just roll on in here, and we've got smoke alarm in the hall and in the bedrooms. We do not have a smoke alarm in this room. And without any gas appliances, any gas whatsoever, a carbon monoxide alarm is not required. Okay, so then we roll on in here. This is the primary bedroom suite, primary bedroom suite closet, primary suite closet. This is the load center. We do not have a main principal. We've got a main principal outside by the meter, but we do not have a main circuit breaker inside here. We do not have a surge protector inside of here. We've got a gap wider than 1/4 of an inch, so if this box is to melt down, okay, that's not in here. Coming on along here, since this is the second panel, the bonding, the neutrals and the grounds should be separated and then joined back in the other box. And they're not. We got a ground right here, we got a neutral right here. Our neutrals and our grounds are not separated. Okay, over here, L1 and L2, that would be the other box, so that doesn't apply. Okay, but it still does do a little. This is called bundling. You see all these little holes right here? They're there for a reason. Okay, we don't know where this box is going to go. We'll speak to that in a minute too. Okay, so we got the large knockouts, so you can bring L1 and L2 in. We got the smaller knockouts, because you're only supposed to have 2 at a time. Again, what is it somebody going to do about bundling coming to this house? I don't know. This unit, I don't know. Maybe when the cabinet's replaced in 20 years or something, they could change it. But statistically, I hate apologizing for my work, but let's be realistic here. Our wires should not be touching our cabinet cover. Okay, see these little stub outs right here? They put them on every single panel. All right, rolling off the assembly line day after day after day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, 52 weeks a year, year after year. That's a lot of plastic. That's a lot of microplastic. And why do they put that there? Because these are guidelines. The manufacturer thinks that the wires should not be closer to the cover for everybody's safety. That's what they think. They shouldn't be out here touching the cabinet cover. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be past this right here. You see that right there? They should be behind that. That's kind of close. So we're coming on over here. Now our aluminum connections, what I'm finding the aluminum connections in here, they do not have antioxidant paste on them. So we didn't put any antioxidant paste on them here. Okay, so what else, bud? What else? Well, how's this thing even installed? Oh, that's how it's installed. Well, that's a regular screw. I quit knocking those so much. But what we got over here? Oh, we don't. What, one screw holding this cabinet in? Yeah. It's one of those quick change cassettes. Okay, you just take that one screw out there and you're good to go. Two screws right on this side and you're good to go. I don't see any screws on this side. Huh. Look at that. I only got two screws. Okay. What else have we got here? Well, we're going. Remember I said we don't have a surge protector? There's some other things we don't have. Over here, I don't know what the AC system looks like, but we should have a lockout for the heater. Do we know what the heater is? Main. Okay, main. I get it. So this is the 100 amp main. This is our main coming in here. It doesn't have the antioxidant paste. Fridge, washer, dryer, oven, cooktop. You know, this labeling is undependable. Okay, one, handwriting is supposed to be printed, not handwritten. Okay, I appreciate all the notes. Sometimes they help. Okay, but it's supposed to be printed. See where it says GE. Okay, see it says gold. Okay, the load center, it says all those things. Let me get down in here. Power mark. All right. So that's printing, and the manufacturer thinks that it should be printed. The National Residential Code thinks it should be printed. Oh, this is multi-housing, so the International Building Code thinks it should be printed. The National Electrical Code thinks it. Everybody thinks it should be printed. Are those burgers going to work labeled like that? You bet they are. You know, is it inconvenient to print them up? It would be less inconvenient to label them properly than it would be to somebody come in here and guess every time you're working on this. Okay, so we got our neutrals and our grounds are shared. We do not have a surge protector. We do not have a lockout for our condensing unit. We do not have a lockout for our heater. We do not have a lockout for our kitchen range. We do not have GFCI for the kitchen range. We do not have GFCI for the kitchen microwave. We do not have GFCI for the dishwasher. Okay, we don't have GFCI for a lot of these things, and I don't know what all these things are because they're not printed. Well, you through, bud? No, I'm not through. I'm just getting started. I'm having some fun here. It's one of those lazy days. I had a false start this morning and went home and I had myself a lunch, and here I am. And so enough about that. We got the gaps and stuff, got the screws, got the pop out. You see the pattern on this dead front cover plate? Okay, you got this bank, this space, and that bank. This bank, space, and that bank. Then this bank comes down to the blank, all right, and stops. And then over here, the one on the left, it goes all the way down past the knockout. So that right here, this right in here, is a big open hole that goes right inside of here. You can just stick your finger off in that and grab yourself a good dose of electricity in case you need a quick jump in the morning. Yeah. And where is this? Where did I say this was? In the primary suite closet? Electric load centers are not supposed to be located in closed closets. This has been replaced because there was a Federal Pacific on the wall outside and it looked a lot older. And I don't know what was inside of here. This has been replaced. And when it was replaced, it's supposed to be replaced to code. And if it was replaced to code, this would have been turned around backwards and it would have been installed right here behind the door because they're not supposed to be in closed closets. And that way, you could have gotten a building permit for that. See the way this is installed here? I don't see any building permits. Sure enough. Sure enough, not supposed to be in a closed closet. You're supposed to have 6 feet of clearance over your head. It's supposed to be properly labeled. Not supposed to have a bare light bulb. This light bulb is supposed to be protected. It's supposed to be protected anyway because it's in a closed closet. But it's supposed to be protected